We haven't yet tackled fresh pasta here on the channel, and I'm really happy today to bring you my recipe for fresh gnocchi from scratch. And the beauty of this recipe is it's just a couple of ingredients. It costs little to nothing to actually make this. And when you make these fresh, it's so much better than the store-bought versions that you're never going to want to go back to those ever again. Be sure to hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified when the new videos are posted. There's kind of an ongoing debate over whether you should use baked potatoes or boiled potatoes. I prefer using baked potatoes. So preheat your oven to 475 degrees. Pierce your potatoes. I'm using 3 medium potatoes here. Place those in the oven and allow those to bake for approximately 1 hour. You'll just want to check to make sure that they're tender all the way through, and just allow those to cool on your counter just until they're almost room temperature. You want them to be still slightly warm before we move on to the next step. As far as ingredients, it's just 4. There's potatoes, flour, eggs, salt. As far as hardware, you don't need much. You actually can do this with like a potato masher, or if you want to use the back of a can or whatever, but I like to use a ricer just because it makes it so much easier. And then you need a bowl, a bench to work on, and a bench scraper really helps. I love doing it with baked potatoes because peeling them is so simple. The skin literally just peels right off. Once you have the potatoes all peeled up as best you can, use your ricer. Rice them. Crack your eggs into the bowl, mix them up. At this stage, add your salt. I would say a good pinch per potato. We have our rice potato mixture, our eggs. Just combine. Best tool for this is your hand. Just work it around with your fingertips. You have here is a wet, very wet dough. What we're going to do is work in flour. Now this is all by eye. It's about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of flour per potato. So I'm going to start with about 1/2 cup, and I'm just going to work it in. With the flour, you could always add more, you can't take it away. And we're also going to be working with the flour on the bench. Basically, you just want to get this to a point where it's holding together into a nice little like dumpling dough. You see now it's still falling apart a little bit. So, more flour. And that's kind of what you want to see, where it comes together and it's barely holding its shape. So I'm going to work it in. That's perfect right there, just like that. Let's get it onto the bench and let's form our gnocchi. Got our nice clean bench. I'm going to take my flour and just dust it a little bit. While we're here, work it onto the little cutter. Right onto there. So what you want to do is roll this into like a dowel. In fact, I'm going to split it up and work with 2. Want to be kind of delicate with it. Now, whatever size gnocchi you like, that's the size dowel you're going to make. And then with a little more flour here. And that's about the size I'm going for. So let's do that same thing with this one. This way you could form them all at the same time. A little more flour here. Basically, there's not a lot you can do to mess this up, but it is still a pretty delicate operation. Now you cut these to the size that you want. I'm going to say about like that big. That's the size. Like 1 cubic inch is what we're looking for. You can end here. That's a perfectly respectable gnocchi, but you're probably asking, where are the nice little ridges in the indentation? And for that, you need a special tool, and I call it a fork. You can definitely pay extra money for a special roller. All you need is a fork for this and your thumb, and I'll show you how to do it. Flour up your fork using some of the bench flour. Take your gnocchi and just run it along there. You see that? Just like that. Cover these up with a white kitchen towel until you're ready to use them, but I'm actually just gonna cook a couple of these up for you right now. We'll make like the classic Parmesan butter sauce. To make this sauce very simple, a little bit of butter in a frying pan. We're gonna finish with some Parmesan cheese, and you want a big pot of water, salted, to come up to a boil, and we're gonna throw our gnocchi in. The gnocchi really take just a minute. When they come up to the top of the water, they're ready and they go right into the sauce. You see that water is up to a ripping boil. You don't want to put your gnocchi in there like that. It's way too hot. So I turned the heat way down. I have a pan here. I'm only going to make like 3 gnocchi like this just so I can show you. I have a pan here with my butter just starting to melt a little bit. I got my grated Parmesan cheese, of course, freshly grated by hand. I have here my gnocchi. What I'm going to do is once this water tames down a little bit, I'm going to throw 3 gnocchi into that water and just let them cook and then go right into the butter. So they've been in the water about 30 seconds. You'll see they're just about to start rising. As soon as they rise to the top, they are ready. Here we go, here they come. Almost ready, almost ready. We got one slow guy. Come out with these 2 and come right into your butter. Let him go for another second. There it goes. That was about a minute, a little over a minute. You actually want a little bit of this water. Swirl that around. And now in with your cheese. And just keep swirling. It's almost like an Alfredo. And we're gonna come right back in with a little bit more water. Now, if you had some fresh herbs, sage, thyme, that would all be great in this. Maybe a little lemon, but we're not gonna go there today. Now just cook this down until that water. We're making kind of like a beurre blanc kind of thing here. You see these are super delicate. I got one falling apart on me here. I'm gonna call it right there and right onto our plate. Bon appetit. It's like the perfect little pillowy dumpling. Where I went wrong, I think I didn't add quite enough flour this time. And they're kind of really delicate. Usually they're a little bit more robust. I think I'm gonna let the bench rest for a little while, and we're actually gonna eat it with some of Cassie's bolognese sauce she made a few days ago, which I think is gonna be another incredible way to plate this up. But by doing it with the butter and the Parmesan like that, it kind of reminds you of like, you let it melt in your mouth. It's kind of like mashed potatoes in that regard, where it's just like the most rich, unctuous kind of, Italian gnocchi dish that you can have. If you like this recipe, I have a ton more recipes here on the channel. I'll leave a link to that playlist right here. I also do dining reviews. You're gonna wanna check those out as well. I'll leave a link to that playlist right here. You can check all that out. Remember, like this video, hit the subscribe button below, comment with future suggestions, and we'll talk to you next time. Have an amazing day.